For a Homestead movie, this was pretty good. So, guys, today's Prepper movie critique, we're going to talk about the movie 40 Acres. Now, originally, when I saw this movie, the movie poster online, I was like, is this another movie about slaves or slaves getting land? Because I was being judgmental. So, of course, I keep seeing it now. I keep seeing the trailer pop up on the internet all over the place. I'm like, let me take a look at it. And I was like, whoa, this looks really good. As a trailer, it looked really good. So, of course, now I watched the movie, and the movie was probably one of the better Prepper Homestead movies that are out there. Probably. I think The Road being like the Prepper pinnacle of movies, this was pretty good, especially the way they handled themselves and how they were prepared and how they traded with other people and communicated. I think along those lines, for preppers and homesteaders, it was pretty good. Now, this movie came out July 2nd of this year. The movie stars Daniela Deadweiler as Haley Friedman. She was also in the movie The Woman in the Yard, Parallel, and Till. Ketamine O'Connor as Emmanuel Friedman, Michael Grayes as Galen, Haley Amir as Cookie, Milkania Diaz Rojas as Dawn, Lena Robinson as Rain, Jada LeBlanc as Danis, and Elizabeth Saunders as Augustus Taylor. Now, some of you will recognize Elizabeth Saunders from the TV show From, and that's a good TV show as well. But that's another video for another day. Now, the synopsis of the movie is a couple of events happen that lead the United States into an apocalyptic stage. There is a fungal release on food and animal, or rather plants and animal, that decimate the, food industry. Then they have civil war break out, and then famine breaks out a few years later from that. And all of that leading the United States into this apocalyptic realm that starts to form a group of people, cannibals. Now, cannibals are running rampant in the movie. At least a group of cannibals are running rampant in the movie. And the way they handled the cannibals in the beginning of the movie, I thought was really good. Their attack, or rather their defense, if you will, was awesome. The way they took them out. I only had one issue. And then one issue was the way the kids handled taking out the enemy. I was a little like, all right. It was almost as if they didn't care. Which I guess, if you're raising your kids in that kind of environment, that's the kind of attitude they're going to take. But again, that was me, again, being a dad and going, I don't know if my kids would respond that way, especially when you watch what happens, like soon after, what Emmanuel does, or his character, Emmanuel, what he does to one of the raiders, if you will. It was a little weird. But anyway, you get past that scene, or just their reaction to it was a little weird. But now, as a prepper, the way they had everything set up, their home was pretty good. Their defense, their security was really good. They had a security fence at the vulnerable points, and I'm not sure if it was all the way around the property, but they definitely had it set up at its vulnerable points, making people either have to climb over it or go around. And the fence was electrified, so that was pretty good in itself. They had cameras throughout the property, so I'm assuming they had solar power on the property to run those cameras. Now, the more interesting part was the way they traded with other people. They used drop points. So they would drop off certain things, and then they would take certain things out. So if they went to a mill, for example, and they went to the back of the mill, that's where supplies were dropped off, and they never did face-to-face. They always made sure that it was a drop-off, and then a day later, they would go get whatever it was in there, and they would drop something in there in return. So that was pretty good where they went about doing their bartering. Or trading, rather, And then their communication was by way of ham radio. The character, Haley Friedman, the main character, her standoffish attitude was really good because she didn't want other people to be involved in their farm because she wanted to protect their supplies and the family. Now, she was in charge of communications, and she listened to everything that went on, and she did a good job just listening. She wrote down what needed to be wrote down, and then she listened to other things that went on and communicate, other things that were said. She wrote that down, and that was it. And she only talked to one other person, It seemed like she barely talked to the other people, but I'm not sure if that was true or not. But in the movie, it leads you to believe that she only talked to one other person, and she might have talked to other people. Now, the communication was really good because she heard things going on at other farms, and she knew that danger was near. And again, that's why ham radios are great. And this is me talking to myself. This is why you need a ham radio, because that was a case in point of listening to danger heading your way and knowing how to spot it by what people were saying on the radio. That was a good thing. So now at the end of the movie, the cannibals, another group of cannibals show up again, and their defense was great. Why? Because they did something a lot of movies don't do. And they went from plan A to plan D in the last part of the movie as their plans fell apart. They went to plan A, they were like, we're going to get overrun. They went to plan B, they're like, nope, we got to move to the next location. They went to plan C, they were like, shit, they're inside. Then they went to plan D, and they held the line there. And they took out whoever they had to take out. Now, the cannibal part, there is a scene where they're actually using people as they're cutting off limbs as they're eating them. And I thought that was pretty interesting because we saw that in the movie The Road, right? That one scene in the basement, this is sort of the same thing. And so my only issue with the cannibals is, I guess because of the way cannibals are portrayed, these cannibals look too clean, in my opinion. But they did do cannibalistic shit, like using tourniquets, tying off to make sure they didn't bleed out. I thought that was pretty good. The movie as a whole was excellent. Not excellent, but was really good. I mean, they could have been better. They could have shaved off a few minutes because it was a little too long. But outside of that, it was entertaining. The family dynamics was really good. I thought that was about as real as it was going to get. The kids were sort of used to that apocalyptic world while the parents were still, it seemed like, struggling with the fact that they were in this. But they knew that they had to carry on because of the kids. And the mother sort of made that point towards the end of the movie. And I liked how it jived together. It was sort of like The Road with a little more action because there was some realism to it. But anyway, for you homesteaders who watched this movie, please leave me a comment in the comment section as to what you thought, what could have they done better, and what they got spot on. Because again, I live in an apartment, and I only know about what I read and what I see some of you guys put in the videos. I don't know how it actually is being a homesteader. So that would be awesome if you guys could leave the comment in the comment section. Other than that, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.